the best deal ever was, he says, so what do you need to start with? And I said, well, what do you got? He said, 400,000. I said, well, I could probably use 100. And then he says, well, what will I get back? And I said, well, in your savings account, you're not going to be at 1%. So how about if I give you like 8%? And he said, how about like 11? So we agreed on 10%, right?
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Mark Carman, who is a real estate investor since 2012 in the Sacramento area. So excited to have you here today, Mark.
Thanks, Michelle. My first podcast. I'm excited.
Excited to have you here as well. Let's dive in. First off, for those not familiar with you and your work yet, can you share what your main focus is?
Well, real estate investing is a main focus. I have a lot of aspects of real estate investing. I've done fix and flips, and hold rentals, short-term rentals like Airbnb, vacation rentals, term rentals, long-term rentals. I've done mostly residential, but I have some mixed-use properties that have residential, commercial. I've done some wholesaling. I've done a lot in the last 13 or 14 years. So anything real estate that I'd say my main focus would be fix and flip. But when you make money, to avoid taxes, you want to spend money. So then I buy properties. And so I've got, some real estate holdings as well.
Awesome. And how did you get started as a real estate investor?
Well, I've been self-employed for over 45 years. After college, I had a degree in business. I got involved with printing sort of accidentally. I worked at a printing company a couple of years. And then after that, I thought, I think I want to get out of the East Coast. That's where I was born and raised. So I bought a van and drove to California. And I lived in my van. That was my first piece of real estate. Just kidding. And then I got involved with a printing company in California. And after an year, I thought, I can do this. I'll start my own printing company. So I started my own printing company, did that for probably 35 years or more. And at the great old age of 55, I thought, I'm ready for something different. So what does somebody do when you're 55 and you've done the same thing for 35 or 40 years? Well, my skill set was I was already fixing and flipping motorcycles, cars, horses. It didn't matter. I was buying stuff at a great price below market and repairing or training or whatever and selling. So somebody said, you should do real estate. And this was back in 2012. You might recall the gurus would come around and they would do their workshops and they would have their events where they invite people over. And I signed up for a couple of those. And I'm not going to mention names, but I actually found one group that worked very well. They had a local presence as well as a national presence. I signed up for a couple $1,000s, and within 6 months, I did my first flip and made $65,000 net. And I thought, well, shoot, if I did this 3 or 4 times a year, that would definitely be my life. So I moved on from there and did more flips and made some money and bought some rentals, and here I am.
Awesome. What would you say have been some of the main keys that have allowed your business to be able to grow and run successfully?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Well, I hear from some people, some of the people I work with, that investors, some of them have a bad rap because they are always looking out for the seller's best interest. And I think our job is, we're professional problem solvers, right? So we need to come in and see what this property needs and what the situation is, but also look at the individual behind that property and find out what they need. And that's normally one of my very first questions. It's like, okay, so you want to sell this house, you have an issue, right? Um, what is your issue and how can I help you? Where do you want to go? And so actually solving the seller's problem is going to develop a relationship of trust and get to the point where they're going to want me to be the buyer if I'm genuine with that. And I've had people actually hug me and love on me and say, Mark, nobody else would do what you did. We thank you so much. And I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you find the leads for the types of investing properties that you're looking for?
I missed the very first part you said. How do I find the leads?
Yes, correct.
Well, that's another thing that I think a lot of real estate investors maybe don't get right. Um, I I know a lot of guys are working off lists and off the internet and off mass mailings and off emails and they're searching for leads where I search for people. So when I first started, my mentor said, Mark, if you talk to 30 people a day and tell them what you do and tell them how you can help them out. For example, hi, my name is Mark. I'm a real estate investor. What do you do? And by the way, if you'd like to make some extra money, I'm looking for properties and I'm leveraging other people like yourself to help me find those properties. If you find me a property that I can make a good deal on, let's just say I can make $100,000 on a property profit. Why would I hesitate to not give you $10,000? It's an incentive right there. My deals actually come to me. I rarely make a cold call. I don't knock on doors. I don't send out, I don't work from lists. I don't like competition. So when people call me and said, hey Mark, somebody told me about you, or I heard about you, or I saw your sign, or I saw your truck, I have advertising, don't get me wrong, but not really any paid advertising. I'm a very warm market type person. I had one person who was actually a neighbor, so that's a warm market. I knocked on his door because I heard he was in trouble with his property. And he said, Mark, I knew you were an investor, and I got postcards, I got phone calls, I got emails, but you're the only guy that knocked on my door. And so how can you help me out? And of course, I got his deal and it worked out. And that's happened with perfect strangers too, just because I'm there. So so if I'm not there, I would ask you to be there. You might be a bird dog for me, right? Hey, now that you know what I do, you have one of these things here in your pocket. How many people do you know in this thing right here? Hundreds? So if you know what I do, now all your people here can potentially know what I do. And the phone will ring. So 30 people a day, just that one thing, 9 people a month, 30 times 30. That's 5,000 people in, say, 6 months. And 5,000 people have these. So there's probably maybe 100,000 people that know what I do. That's just one way. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
very much, get myself in front of people. Don't sit behind the desk and do this on my computer all day. That's just me. When I'm old school.
Yeah, I think networking and relationships are everything.
Yeah. And we'll see how this podcast digital networking thing works right here, right? We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I want to see if I get a lead on this. Or maybe I can give somebody here a lead, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll never know.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I know that when we were chatting before the podcast, you mentioned that a lot of people don't believe that there's deals in California. Can you expand on your opinion on that?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, I think there's deals anywhere and everywhere. You just have to, again, have to know, or maybe not know where. I don't always know where to find them, but I know people know where to find them again. So it kind of expands upon what I just mentioned, right? About leveraging other people, right? It's like casting a net out for deals, right? You cast a net out, but I can only cast one net. I'm one person. But if I get 100 people to cast that net, now you got 100 people out there fishing, right? So there are deals. And I mean, I get them everywhere. I get leads everywhere. I even got some really good ones off the internet, the MLS listing, which, as we all know, everybody sees those deals. But I'm not sure how much time they take on one particular deal. But I got a great one that I just landed like 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
I picked up 10 acres here in Northern California with a 2,700 square foot house on it, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, good sized house, 2-car garage, barn on 10 acres. And I heard about this. I actually saw this listed for 475,000 for 10 acres. You can't hardly buy a house in town in California for 475. So I called to say, oh my gosh, how many people are going to call on this place? Got to be a lot of competition because it's listed. Well, I called and they said, yeah, well, the deal is the homeowner is in hospice. She's dying and she doesn't have a will or a trust. And her kids really want this to get sold before probate takes over. Right. So I said, let me rush out there and have a look at it right now. So I went out there and come to find out, in one of the rooms, there was a bed with a blanket behind the bed covering up a wall. And when I pulled back the carpet behind the Wizard of Oz carpet thing there was some black mold. And I said, So the selling agent, I said, how many people do you have looking at this? They said, well, at least 10. And I said, do you have some offers? Yes. Are they cash offers? No. Well, I'm a cash offer. And by the way, if this is going to be a bank loan by somebody, they won't be able to get a loan because there's black mold in this house. And I sent her a picture and she said, oh my gosh. I said, I'm prepared to give you 375. 2 hours later, they took my offer. 10 acres with a house on it for 375. That's easily going to be worth $700,000-800,000, and I'm going to put less than $100,000 to it. So deals are out there. You just have to have many. I say everything works, nothing doesn't. So try this. If it doesn't work, try something else. If it doesn't work, try something else. Our jobs as real estate investors, I think, is to find 3 things: properties, people, and money. If you don't have those, it's going to be a little tricky. People, properties, and money. And some days I would focus on money because it's like, oh gosh, I got deals coming. I got to find money. But I'm always focusing on people because people can bring me all of that, right? People, properties, and money
Yeah. And so, how do you find money?
from people. So I can go on and on with these stories. I mean, I had a homeless guy come to one of my projects. He said, I need work. Can I do something? I said, sure, clean out the garage. After he cleaned out the garage, he goes, how do I get to be a real estate investor? Most people would say, are you kidding me? And I said, well, it helps if you can network with people. It helps if you have money. And he goes, oh, I have money. I said, well, why are you homeless? He goes, well, I have a drug and alcohol problem. So all my money is tied up in a trust. I said, well, what kind of money are we talking about? He said, $500,000. I said, do you have access to that money? He said, yes, with my brother's permission, because he's part of the trust too. So you never know whose people have money. I've met a guy in a courtroom when I was evicting a tenant, and we had a conversation, and he says, you here for? I said, I'm evicting somebody. What are you here for? He said, I'm evicting somebody. He goes, how long have you been doing this? I said, 2 or 3 years. I said, how long have you been doing this? He goes, oh, I've done it for 20 some years. I'm ready to retire. He was like in his mid 70s. And he says, and I said, so do you have some properties? He says, yeah, I got 3 or 4 and they're paid for, free and clear. And he goes, what do you have? And I said, I've got like 10, but I have loans on all of them because I'm just starting out. This conversation went on for maybe 5 minutes. He goes, I think I'd like to work with you because I'm scaling down business, but I have a little bit of money to work with. And I said, well, what do you have? And he goes, I got $400,000 in a savings account. I said, why don't we have lunch someday? He invited me to his senior citizen hall, and we had a $6 spaghetti plate, and we talked. We got to like each other, know each other, and I've worked with this guy now for 10 years.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
The best deal ever was, he says, so what do you need to start with? And I said, well, what do you got? He said, 400,000. I said, well, I could probably use 100. And then he says, well, what will I get back? And I said, well, in your savings account, you're not even at 1%. So how about if I give you like 8%? And he said, how about like 11? So we agreed on 10%, right? So then I said, well, $100,000, can I pay you the interest and the principal at the end when I get done with my flip? So let's say 6 months or a year, I'll give you back 110. He goes, well, with the right paperwork, that could work. And then I said, well, what if I kept that money for 5 years? Could I pay you back then? He said, with the right contract, that could work. He gave me $100,000 for 5 years with no payments. In 5 years, I gave him back $150,000. It was secured by real estate with a promissory note, and the deed of trust would change when I went from one deal to the next. But anything is possible if you can communicate with people, and the more people you talk to, the more likely something could happen.
Yeah, amazing. I think that's super inspirational for people who are just starting out and maybe don't have all of the finances set.
Yeah. Our job is to meet people, right? What's the saying? Our net worth is determined by our network, right? If you don't have any network, good luck. You can do it all by yourself. Good luck.
Yeah, definitely. And so, what are you most focused on solving or scaling to next?
Oh, well, I mentioned a little something about my latest project, which is a challenge. And, I would be happy to get any input if anybody has any ideas for me. I got a couple of good ideas today, but uh, I did pick up a building recently. It's a 3,500 square foot building, 2-story. It's in a small little town in Northern California. I got it really cheap, 285,000. And I'm going to put less than 100 into it. I've already done it. And I thought there was 5 bedrooms in this building downstairs, 2 bathrooms and a kitchen and a laundry room and a storefront, a good sized storefront right on Main Street, USA. And I thought, what am I going to put in this storefront? What kind of business would be here? Do I want to have a coffee shop or a pizza place or what? And what kind of people am I going to put in this with 5 potentially people with 5 bedrooms? And then upstairs, I might duplicate the whole thing, which I did. So I have the same thing, 5 bedrooms upstairs, 2 bathrooms upstairs, a kitchen upstairs. So now I have enough for 10 people for like room sharing or co-living, right? And so I thought, what can I put in this storefront? And I thought, I would, instead of having low income housing for $600 a room or whatever, I'd rather get more like $1,200 a room times 10 rooms and have some maybe higher class people there. And what might those people look like? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe somebody like us that is just starting out, that wants to live with 9 other people that are like-minded and have a masterminds and collaborate and support each other and make each other accountable. And hey, what's your goal? Hey, what's my goal? Let's help each other out, right? I actually had one person move in, an older woman. She's 65, and her goal is to write books and to start a care facility, something like this building. I'm still working on that, maybe. So I created an entrepreneur academy is what I was getting to, right? So I created this academy. I want to bring in entrepreneurs. And this lady came in. She said, can I bring my 25-year-old son? And I said, sure. What's he want to do? She said, well, to be honest with you, he's mentally deficient. He got an injury as a child, so he's a little bit slow, but he's a great guy. And I think being surrounded with positive people would be great for him. So I said, sure, let's bring him in. So she moved in with him. I interviewed her and I said, how can we help you? She wants to write books and she wants to do a facility like this for people like her son. So I asked her son, I said, so Axel, what is it that you want to do? He goes, Mark, he's pretty naive. He goes, I would like to get a driver's license. I said, have you checked with the state of California? Well, I don't know if that's possible. We can look into that. And I said, well, you got to learn the area. We need to learn the rules of the road. Do you have a bicycle? He says, Mark, never rode a bicycle. I said, well, maybe that should be your first goal. Why don't we make that your first goal? Let's get you a bicycle. and get you on the road if your mom is okay with it. And, we'll do some baby steps and work towards that driver's license. So everybody's goal is different, right? Some people want to be multimillionaires. Some guys want to ride bicycles and learn how to drive a car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would love to get this entrepreneur. I've had it for about 6 months. I've got 3 people in there, and I'm really trying to find a way to attract people to this small town and pay, top dollar for not just a place to live. My motto, my slogan is live, learn, and launch. Whatever it is that you want to do, we're going to have quality people. I've got strict rules: no drugs, no alcohol, no overnight stays. This isn't a fraternity party. It's a place to actually be and succeed. So that's my latest. And never heard of that. I'm sure it's been done somewhere, but I didn't learn this from a podcast or online. So wish me luck.
Amazing. Wishing you all the luck.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing everything. And before we wrap up here, if someone wants to reach out, connect, and learn more about what you're up to, where can people find you and connect with you?
Okay. Well, my email is R like Robert. My legal name's Robert Mark Carman, but I go by Mark. So R Mark Carman, RMarkCarman @gmail. I'm so old school. I've never had a website. I don't have a website. My phone number 916-220-3351, and I live up by Sacramento. I'm up in the foothills, so that's where I am. So I'm happy to help anybody else with questions, and hopefully you can help me a little bit. That's what we're all here for.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time and your story. Thank you for being here.
And of course. And I'll be out to watch some other guys on this podcast too, hopefully.
Awesome. And for the listeners tuning in, if you got value, make sure you've subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators like Mark who are building real businesses. And we'll see you on our next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.